after last night's special stream and this comment from Charles's ghost, don't we need Cynthia, the TIR expert racial astrologist, for this conversation? I'm at a loss. Good morning to most, good afternoon to others, and good evening to the viewing audience across the pond. I am your host, Jason Miles, here for another episode of This is Revolution Podcast. If you're new to the channel, thank you so much for joining us on, for me, what is a very dreary Saturday morning. If you are a returning subscriber, listener, or one of our very valued patrons, so glad to have you here with us. We have had a massively busy week of shows here at TIR. Tuesday morning, we did a special stream with our very own Deep State Cuba and Ben Burgess, where we discussed the situation between Israel and Iran. We spoke to Jeff Chang and Davey D on their book, Can't Stop, Won't Stop, on the history of hip-hop being banned. And then Friday, we were joined by the racial astrologist, Cynthia, to talk about dating in the age of AI. And we followed that up with Ninja Appreciation Month here at TIR and watched Revenge of the Ninja, the sequel, not really, but kind of sort of, to Enter Ninja. Tomorrow, I don't have the time yet, but we will be watching Ninja 3, The Domination. And I think we're going to make it a double feature with Pray for Death. So, got to find the right time so we can have time to watch all those things. I know when it gets late, people are old, got to tap out. But that's the plan. I'll have everything done by the end of the day. If you want to join us for these movie nights, there's only one way. Become a patron for as little as $3 a month or $30 for the year. You can have access to champagne rooms past and present. Have access to the replays of these shows with all of the crazy comments as well. We keep it all in. And the replay for last night will be up after this show is over. But let's talk about the topic at hand. Black people versus Mexicans. Who wins? This was not a topic I was particularly eager to discuss today, as I find the discourse to be primarily an online one. The images I've seen on the ground seem to contradict many of the viral videos circulating on the matter. The issue in question is the growing number of Black voices online declaring that they will not support Mexican Americans or Latinos more broadly in the fight against unconstitutional ICE raids and deportations. The sentiment expressed is that Black people are tired of helping others who don't reciprocate that support. Many say, when we needed you most, you abandoned us, and point to the Latino community's support for Donald Trump. Yes, it's true that Trump received a record-breaking number of Latino votes for a Republican candidate, but he did not win the majority. That went to Kamala Harris. What's often left out of these social media testimonials of solidaristic defiance, however, is that Trump also saw a noticeable rise in Black voter support. In fact, Trump performed better with Black voters than any other Republican since Gerald Ford. As these ICE raids continue, we're watching in real time the consequences of a policy that had significant support during Trump's campaign. Just like the Remain in Mexico policy and the scandal around kids in cages, the reality on the ground now is devastating, and it's leading to a political backlash that may surprise those who underestimated the cruelty of its implementation. The American voter tends to have a short, gnat-like memory. Believing that Trump and his administration would target only the bad guys while sparing the most vulnerable isn't just naive, it's ignoring the forest for the redwood trees. In cities like Los Angeles, Black people are out protesting the removal and terrorizing of their immigrant brothers and sisters. And why wouldn't they be? Many of those same immigrant communities were present out in droves during the George Floyd uprisings. They were getting hit with batons and rubber bullets too, standing shoulder to shoulder to resist an authoritarian police force. So the question becomes, is this performative outrage just another product to peddle for clicks? Or is it signaling a deeper shift towards nationalist isolationism within marginalized communities? Here to discuss this with me is my homie, my dog, the man of the Mau Mau Hour, the Prince of Miami. He is the Pascal Robert.
Peace and greetings to the chat. Peace and greetings to the audience. Peace and greetings, Jason Miles.
Are you ready for the topic at hand?
Ready to rock and roll, whoa, whoa. Bow, bow,
bow. Also ready to rock and roll is the female voice of reason on this show, M. Tucson.
Hello, hello. I am once again the only voice of reason on this show.
You are. You're literally the reason for this show.
I resent that remark.
You are the man of the Mau Mau Hour, and Gene is the ponytail of reason.
I need to start saying he is the learned one.
Yes.
Well, first question off the bat, how much of this solidarity sentiment is rooted in real world dynamics versus online performance, Pascal?
That's a very good question, and I noticed that how you framed that. I think we have to realize that what has happened is that certain frictions that existed in immigrant communities with African Americans were metastasized or grew in online spaces with the birth of these racial nativist movements like ADOS and FBA that took those tensions and exploded them disproportionately in a way where the racial discourse online about immigrant communities began to overshadow the initial problems that caused the discourse in the first place. In other words, let's not act that there was not tension between Black and Latino communities in Mexico and California before the internet and social media. Clearly, those tensions go back a while back. We realize that. We know those things happen. And let's not act like there was not tension between the Black community and the Cuban community in Miami going back before social media and before Twitter. Those things did exist. But what ends up happening is that these realities end up exploding in a conflagration of rhetoric and discourse when personalities capitalize them to make it seem like that's the only history these communities have with each other, and they create these nativist movements that really are just blackface of MAGA on the internet.
Damn.
Because if you look at places like New York, this tortured community relationship between communities of Latinos and Blacks doesn't have the same history as it does in Miami and it does in California. So we shouldn't relegate the relationship between Blacks and Latinos to making it homogenous. It's really something that depends on the space and time you're in and the location you're in.
Yes.
And at the same time, we should also realize that the online discourse is making the already fractured solidaristic attempts more difficult, not better.
I was thinking about that too, Pascal, about how it did feel like, I was like, these people must not live. I don't know if you felt the same way, Toussaint, when you were sending me these fucking videos. But I felt like these people live, maybe somewhere in the Midwest, maybe the South, where you don't have, large integrated Latin populations. If you look at images of the protest, I literally Googled images of the protest for that image on the thumbnail, and the first one that came up is this Black kid wearing a Mexican flag with a bullhorn. Especially where I grew up in the Bay Area, our neighborhoods are extremely integrated. Mm-hmm. It's not very segregated.
Right.
We don't have Spanish Oakland.
Oh, ouch.
So this idea that you're just going to take people away, I think because it's so foreign to them, that they really do think the only Latino people that these Black people interact with are walking by a Home Depot and not their neighbor. They're
Mm,
not store owners. They're not classmates. They
right.
don't go to the same church. They don't
Mhm.
work at the same place. So it's kind of it's almost fascinating to see this like where were you for us? There was like that's what most of the videos were saying. Where were you for us? And I was thinking to myself, well, when the fuck did you have your blacks only fucking protests like BLM? Because there was a hell of brown people out during the
There
George
was a
Floyd
lot of
protests.
different kinds of people out for BLM.
Yeah. So,
That was a major feature of those protests. Also, the George Floyd protests,
yeah.
major feature of it. How many different kinds of people were in support of the cause?
It
Spanish.
did you find it? Did it what resonated with you for you to say, Jason, we should do a show on this?
I
Because it
mean,
wasn't clicks.
it wasn't. Well,
It's-
no. This could be about clicks. It caught fire
Mhm,
online.
mhm.
Um, I have been following feminists online, anti red pill people,
Okay.
anti manosphere people,
Okay.
and some of them are black, and some of them are women. And what started coming out is more of their politics. So
Mhm,
one of them, and I messaged the group chat about it. One of them did a video about the non-committed movement, uh, taking it all the way back to that, and saying that this Palestinian cause costed us the election. Um, and it went so far as people in the comments saying things like, well, we know in the squad it was never about Rashida because it's actually black women who make things happen.
Oh my God. Yo,
God.
So two things are happening there. So firstly, it's like, well, what do you expect Rashida to do? What do you expect Palestinian Americans to do? What would you have them do? I think they would have them just vote for Kamala and shut up and be like happy about it. But secondly, it is also apparent to me that a lot of black women consider themselves basically synonymous with the Democratic Party. They
Mm,
take that black women are the backbone of the Democratic Party very seriously. They take the black women saved America again thing very seriously. So a lot of the black women that I would follow for other reasons, once their politics came out, it was like, oh my God, you are a liberal. You are a flaming liberal. Like, I know leftists are in the minority, like the minority, but damn, can I have one? It's just Vanessa Wills. She's the black leftist lady. Like, I be wanting to message her, like, girl, come look at this. Um, because
do you feel that this embrace of black girl magic is kept them blind to the fact that it's kind of black girl super mammy?
no, they think that they're throwing off the shackles of mamminess, particularly with this "we're resting now" thing. They think they're
Oh, okay.
no longer being mammies, no longer being wet nurses or anything like that. We're not working for you anymore. We are reclaiming our time,
Mhm.
and we're doing self care. And healing and self care is resistance. You
Oh,
didn't know that, did you?
so Jemima got her hair straightened, is what you're telling me.
She got her nails done, is what happened. And that is resisting for 4 years, is what the plan is. Meanwhile, I am in New York City and I have the opportunity to vote for Zohran Mamdani. If you are in New York City, you need to be voting for him. There's no way I would go get my nails done instead of voting for him. I mean, it's there's so many things that can happen in the span of 4 years that the idea that you would take 4 years off because you're tired from 400 years is outrageous to me.
well, the whole assumption that black women are the forefront of every single, I mean, yeah, I mean, why are we trying to genderize the leadership of black politics in a way that puts like Mammy's vagina at the front of everything that has to do with. I mean, it's ridiculous. It's absolutely absurd. It's kind of like uh, you know, uh, you know, academic black gender studies discourse way of looking at black political history, and it fuels some of the resentment that you see in black male spaces that calls for an abandonment of the Democratic Party and the way in which these women are using gender politics in a way that kind of tries to infantilize black men.
I do see
It's
that.
not cool.
Do you think
I
this kind of runs hand in glove with the Lord Jamar Latino people were no part of hip hop kind of conversation as well?
Mhm.
I
Pascal.
think it comes out of I think it comes out of the same energy. The whole we would never take we they don't mess with those people over there type of discourse.
Yeah, I've heard that in the early days of hip hop, black people were doing it all, and Puerto Ricans would come and visit, right? And they would be like, "Yo, this is cool what you got going on," but my parents said I can't hang out with you because you're black, and then they would
Word,
leave.
word.
Yeah,
Very interesting. You could
it's
just
a
make
very
up
yeah,
anything on the internet. Like the truth be damned.
absolutely, absolutely.
There's literally images of the 70s of
Hmm.
these people together
Yeah,
in gangs, in breakdance crews
I
from the
mean, I
70s.
I think your earlier point is a very good one about where some of these black people making these comments are living. They're not necessarily living in the most integrated communities. And I think it's hard for people who are outside of New York City to conceptualize the relationship between black people and Puerto Ricans specifically. Uh, they're like, why do you give them the N word pass? But I feel like we get the pass because we're black in New York City. So they let us do that. But a lot of black people look at us askance, like, why do you let Puerto Ricans say this word?
Well, I mean, we had the whole N-word show a few weeks ago,
That's
and
right.
what's fascinating that was part of this discussion as well. This woman said, "We told you," and what part of online discourse is so powerful to people that they feel that if there's this royal we that just
Mm,
doesn't exist because different, you know, stratums of black people, some don't say the N-word at all. Some
hmm.
don't care if their white friends say it. There's definitely Asian people that say it. I think to a certain degree, and Teray mentioned this, and so many people got angry in the comments.
Hmm.
The first time the N word was used, we're not talking about the first time. It's no my the first usage of N word was that I ever heard it was in the 70s. Like, well, I feel bad for you.
Yeah.
Um, those were literal comments. Hip hop makes the N word the hook.
Hmm.
It's not the explanation point that it is in black cinema
Right.
and even television for the 70s and early 80s.
Hmm.
And because of this cross-cultural integration, especially that we're seeing currently when we make fun of in the champagne room all the horrible young Edgar rappers,
Oh.
you know, a lot of that is because of a black migration out of certain parts of Los Angeles
Hmm.
into the hinterlands of Southern California. And now these young kids are growing up no longer with the kind of stereotypical SoCal Latin culture norms. They're growing up with all the N-word stuff.
Mm. That's what's left.
And they're adopting it and saying it amongst these other N-words that have no
Yeah.
problem with them saying it. So
Hmm.
this idea that these older black people online are like so frustrated, like why? Well, what do you? That's really what your problem is.
That's what kids talk like now. Then they
That's what.
say
Yeah,
if they were in Toronto, they would say "mandem." That's what the kids talk like now.
that is not a real accent.
British people say "man" them all the time.
British people can say it.
They say it in Toronto constantly.
Toronto people, you don't have a stop it.
They do have a Caribbean population up there.
They do.
They have a huge Caribbean population.
Yeah, but you know what I don't hear out there? Man, dim, dare. You can't say that and eat poutine at the same time.
Oh. To your earlier comment, you can't have a royal we if there's no kings. Ha.
Well, the whole thing, part of that royal we nonsense is that these people act like every one of them speaks for the wholeness. When do we have these people say that we speak for all of black people? Like, when does that happen? That all of a sudden these individuals can like black people, we need to set this out. Who are you to say we?
Is that a Ta-Nehisi Coates thing?
I don't know. Did he do that?
I don't know. Wasn't he speaking for black people? Did we think that's what like black punditry was? You were supposed to speak for black people. No? We're all pundits now. Thank you, TikTok.
Ooh. Damn.
It happened before TikTok, but I think there is something very intimate about TikTok. I hear the feminists online talk about how important it is for particularly women to share their stories. You see these groups popping up online. Are we dating the same guy? There was a few weeks ago a guy who came out called the DL Whisperer, and he took screenshots of his texts and his DMs from all these different dudes. I think he was in Atlanta, maybe Houston. All these different, I think he was in Houston. All these dudes, around town who presumably straight. And a lot of women find this information incredibly valuable. It's an underground sort of circuit for gossip as harm reduction, important information conduit thing. And I think there's something very intimate about watching TikTok and having the whole screen be filled with one person's head, like Pascal is right now. And this person is talking to you as if you're having a conversation with them. And you take what they have to say very seriously. One thing that I have noticed is that it seems like these Black people who say no to the Latino community, no, we're resting, they seem to be responding to TikToks from Latino people. These are randos. These are not activists. These are not organizers saying we need people to come out. These are random people who are like, hey, where are all the Black people? We need you now. So this is not some official, decree. This is essentially randos responding to randos.
That's really interesting, because that becomes what happens if that infects the actual situation on the ground, or is it impossible for that to infect the situation on the ground?
I think it can create a vicious circle kind of loop of idiocy, idiocracy, if you will, where you have these random TikTok videos influencing the people's perception in a way where it might actually affect things on the ground.
I think a lot of people fancy themselves activists. I know for a long time I was, active in environmentalism and really engaged in politics. And I did go to protests and stuff, but I was very reluctant to call myself an activist because I always felt like I wasn't doing enough. Maybe that speaks to a point about resting, which is important for activists. But I think there's the barrier for entry for calling yourself an activist is non-existent at this point. You went to one protest, bro. A lot of people just woke up when Obama got into office also. I mean, you get your political awakening when you get it, but a lot of these people are new. Some of these people just woke up when Kamala was running for office as well. They may seem like they've been engaged for a long time, but a lot of them don't seem to know like any history of any solidarity between any of these communities. It's very interpersonal to them. I met a Latino once. I saw a TikTok with a Latino once, and they said this, and that.
Yeah.
Well, also one of the things we have to realize is that there are tangible issues related to ICE and the police
Mm-hmm.
that affect both of these communities. Both of these things affect mass incarceration, policing of communities, or how police interact with communities of color. There's a reason why statistics around incarceration between blacks and Latinos are so similar. All right, both of these communities deal with poverty in larger numbers than white communities. So to act as if the racism in America doesn't adversely affect both blacks and Latinos in a way that is negative to both is illogical. When it would behoove both communities actually to work closer together in finding ways to resolve the ways in which these types of racial entanglements cause harm to their communities.
Absolutely agree. I would also like to point out, yeah, we do need the solidarity between the communities, but also it is a huge problem that immigration is framed around Mexicans in this country, as if no one else ever immigrates here. My understanding is that Black people who are immigrants are disproportionately targeted by ICE. They are going after the Black ones. I mean, I've heard African Americans, ADA's people online say, can we stop pretending that this country doesn't know the difference between an African American and a Black person from Haiti or Cameroon? And I was like,
According to you, everybody's from fucking the Caribbean, so I don't know.
I mean, our communities are so close. We intermarry all the time. We're friends. We're lovers. we are we are very, very close. But there are people who want this conversation to be very separate. We're very separate in their minds.
Dusty has a tinfoil hat theory. He says it looks a little too coordinated for me. This may be my tinfoil hat speaking, but it seems the Democrats are involved in this whole push. Thank you very much for the super chat, Dusty. I would doubt that there's a little bit of astroturfing with some of the people, but I do think there's people independent of Democratic Party funding that feel this way because of maltreatment or perceived anti-blackness, which is like it's a term I'm so sick of because like everything is anti-black. You get cut off by an Asian person, it's like, oh, it's because I'm black, isn't it? So it's like black people and it's the sad part is like the internet I think has sped up every stereotype that we made fun of with like things like in living color and shit. Like, yeah, now you are that right-wing trope of a black person where everything you experience negative from a cloudy day to rain is because of the white man's anti-blackness.
But I think also,
ladies first.
real quick, I think also with social media, it has sped up people parodying themselves. I had a friend who used to always say, don't ever become what people tell you are. But there's this mirroring that happens when you put yourself out there online and you become a character of yourself sometimes. So some of this Afropessimism and anti-blackness rhetoric is people sort of taking in how they're being seen and turning it up. That's how you get clicks and retweets and stuff.
I was literally about to mention Afro-pessimism as a way in which pushing this notion that anti-blackness is ontological. It's like earth science. It's like physics. It's everywhere. And that communities of color will always abandon black people, so there's no reason to reach out for solidarity, which is literally a kind of element of Afro-pessimism.
Cornel West shit on Afro-pessimism the other day.
Nice.
Did you know about that, Pascal?
Didn't know about that. Love to see a video.
Yeah. Is the rise in Trump support among both Black and Latino voters? I have to say that Black and Latino voters. There seems to be people that don't understand that their colored comrades definitely came out to vote for Donald Trump. Voters indicative of a broader shift in political values, or is it something else?
I think it's a shift. I think that what has happened is that the failure of the Democratic Party to meet the political material needs of communities of color has ended up happening where they are seeking out options otherwise. And with the rise of Hillary Clinton being the Democratic nominee and being such a distasteful idea in the notion of communities of color, with them being at the face of the Clintonian third way politics that took the Democratic Party in the direction where it became so corporate friendly in the 90s, that it turned a lot of communities of color off. Particularly, don't forget we also had the omnibus crime bill that came out of the Clintons as well. So people didn't forget that. And when Trump came around in 2016 and 2020, there were large numbers of particularly communities of color and Latino communities who were like, screw the Democratic Party. Because the Democratic Party had really had a low turnaround in terms of return on investment for them.
Tucson, is everything okay? Or is the sounds of the city get to you?
It is the sounds of the city pretty loud right
Who
now.
is starting the trouble? Is it the Blacks or Puerto Ricans?
This is a very good question. Very good question.
Is it both? Have they teamed up together?
I wouldn't put it past them. Hey, we love doing that here. People should learn
And-
about the young lords.
That's what solidarity looks like.
Yes. Ask Geraldo.
He knows.
Yeah, he was their lawyer.
Yeah.
I just want to mention that the great Baby Reed, Toure Reed, has a recent article in Jacobin on their website, not in the magazine necessarily. Kamala Harris didn't lose because of racism. So
he didn't want that title, by the way.
I am not surprised, but I think it set off a flame war. I think people just reacted to it.
He says in the article that that's not the only reason.
It's exactly, and leave it to him to bring in the nuance and to bring in a class argument as well. But a lot of people don't necessarily see it that way, and I think things are definitely very gendered now. I don't know if the people saying that Black people shouldn't go to ICE protests necessarily know that they may be affected by this wave of conservatism that is taking over people. But things are very gendered now. And so some of them have turned their guns on Black men, which I guess is predictable. But they don't seem to have turned it on white people who overwhelmingly voted for Trump. They want to turn it on Latinos, and some of them want to turn it on Black men. And it's just a very interesting way to approach statistics. They say that they are like the 93%. But that's only, which is reappropriating, rhetoric about class and making it about race and I guess also gender. But they, oh my God, I lost my point. The 93%. Yeah, this is only the people who are eligible voters who actually did vote. So there's a solidarity movement with Black women and wanting Black women to support Black women and rest right now, but it's still a misreading of the statistics. And you can't tell some people nothing. I'm very disappointed. I don't know if you could tell. I'm livid. I'm livid.
You're livid about Black people being upset with
livid with what?
With
I'm upset that so many Black women are liberal, I guess. They are militantly so. And they feel at one with the Democratic Party. They feel like one of us was put up to be the president. They strongly identify with Kamala Harris. And I don't know, maybe I'm
Oh, of
realizing
course.
again for the first time how small our numbers are, but goddamn. It's
Kamala Harris validates.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry. I was going to
No,
say
I
she
was gonna say.
validates and vindicates Black female PMC.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
She
And
validates
they
and vindicates Black female PMC.
and even the ones who aren't PMC, they really still identify with her. I guess if we're getting the most degrees out of anybody, a lot of us are PMC or aspiring to be PMC, right? So during the next 4 years, we are supposed to be engaging in self-care and getting more degrees. Are you frozen, Pascal? What's going on?
He was
And Jason
frozen for a
disappeared.
second.
There we
I
go.
think
Pascal.
I was.
There you go. What were you saying, Pascal? Say it again. Pascal? Hey. Pascal, say it again. You were frozen? All right. He's having some issues in Miami.
Oh,
Maybe he's speaking the truth.
They got him.
Deshaun Too Nice says, I told the Black community at UCLA to go about themselves because they literally do the thing you guys talk about. Shout out to Adolph Reed for opening my eyes to all the bullshit. Thank you for the super chat, Deshaun Too Nice. There he goes. He's back. Now, what were you saying, Pascal? Pascal, can you hear us?
No, I was saying that the class and those. Yeah, I hear you. Can
you go ahead.
Hear me?
There's a delay, Toussaint, because he's got Miami Wi-Fi. Pascal, you want to spit it out? Pascal? Okay, we're going to stop talking to you right now. It's not working. It's just not working. I'm sure he had something real cool he was saying, but it's like talking to Max Headroom right now.
Yeah.
Is there a danger in over-indexing on viral narratives that may not reflect broader reality?
That may not reflect broader realities. Yeah, absolutely. Because there is, as you stated at the beginning of the show, a discrepancy between the reality and what people are saying online. There are already Black people at these anti-ICE protests. So the idea that you can put the word out online and tell Black people to stop is kind of absurd.
I agree with that.
Thank you. As a person who is very familiar with the Black PMC, what other insights can you share with us about this phenomenon?
They are violently defensive of Kamala Harris and the Black political class.
Mm-hmm.
And they want retribution for anyone who helped her lose the election in their eyes.
Yeah, I think that's true. I think Black people are also still reacting to the Obama presidency. But do you think that's more Black men reacting to that now or Black women?
I've always believed that there was a degree in which Black women were more attached to the Obama phenomenon because of the image of the Black family it produced and Michelle Obama. But I think that Kamala Harris particularly appealed to them in a way in which so much of that propaganda coming out of the Black professionals. She went to Howard, the AK nonsense, Chucks and Pearls, and particularly in a way she was able to pit herself as a woman who married to a white male, yet Obama needed a Black woman, but she didn't need a Black male. It was interesting the way she was framed.
She didn't need kids either.
No kids.
No kids. Um, yeah, the Kamala thing is interesting because I had a friend who used to say that when you see models in different ads, they like to have diversity. And, he was Asian. You see an Asian person, you're supposed to identify with them and want to buy whatever the clothes are in the ad. And he would say he had his own issues, but he would say if you see a racially ambiguous person, who is that supposed to speak to? Lots of people are racially ambiguous also, but I would think that her background would be I don't say a hindrance, but I'm a little surprised at how much people felt like they identified with her. Her law enforcement background also is just like, you're not like her. Her story is very unique, I think.
Right.
I don't understand the identification with her.
Well, it's created. It's manufactured.
Okay.
It's a contrived kind of identification with a woman who really does not come from any kind of. I mean, she was a prosecutor. I mean, her life is about furthering mass incarceration. The notion that she somehow represents any kind of communities of color is ridiculous.
It's true. But I think it's interesting that she's just kind of disappeared. Like there's no further leadership from her. I mean, I understand like Hillary disappeared too, and then somebody saw her in the woods and took a picture of her, put that online. She's minding her own business, resting, I guess. But there's no further leadership from Kamala that seems to be had. Have you heard anything from her?
No, not that I would want to.
She abandoned her people.
The Indian community.
Well, I guess we still have the Democrats, right? But we're resting. I don't know if that means we're still allowed to vote.
I've never ran into a black person that was like, "Oh, I'm resting. I'm sitting this one out." Because it's like, bitch, where were you the last time? I feel like you were sitting out the last one, whatever the fuck that was. How's that sound?
I think people think voting is activism.
Sure.
I think you can hop up on social media and call yourself an activist when you've really just voted.
Sure.
You didn't even sign up other people to register. You just went to go vote.
Probably wrote some angry social media posts.
Argue with some people.
Yeah, you argue with some people. You yelled at the Thanksgiving. Probably unbearable during the holidays. Right? You encouraged your kids to walk out of class for no reason.
During the Bernie days, I got yelled at. I got flamed, man.
My family?
There was a black woman in particular that I am Facebook friends with. All we ever do is talk about music and stuff. And then when Bernie was running for office, and I would Bernie post, she would come after me. She would come after me. Whole threads of just people outing themselves as super liberals and coming after me and calling me privileged and stuff. I don't know. As a black woman myself, it is really disheartening. How do you guys feel as black men to see this? This is not necessarily gendered.
Well, first of all, I was pissed off this morning that I had to watch more videos preparing the script for the show because you.
Oh yeah, down with Latinos.
Thanks a lot.
Well, Drea in the chat said that this would be a funny show for you because you are black in Mexico, and
I'm a black man in Mexico, and
your loyalties are divided now.
Right. What's funny is I'm also from the Bay Area, which has a different black Latin relationship. There's black people in what people would think are Latino gangs. The dividing line for the Northerners and the Southerners. I'm not going to get into the gang culture too much, but it does spill out into the street and definitely affects urban hood culture, if you will. But because of gang culture, you can be black and be part of the Northerners, which that happens. There's black Northerners in prison right now that when racial spats happen, it gets real confusing.
Yeah.
So people having a really, I don't even say tone deaf, but it's either going to be their experiences or maybe dealing with a certain stratum, a certain class of Latin
Sure.
people. They may feel a certain way. Like Southern California isn't very friendly to Black people, but there's definitely tons of Black and Latin kids. You know what I mean? Like mixed race relationships that happen,
Right.
and has happened for some time down there. It's very different here in Mexico. The native population, I'm not going to say isn't racist at all, but it's not like the States. It's not like what Pascal probably experiences in certain parts of Florida. So this idea that, you know, all brown people hate or anti-Black, it's just like, well, I think you just want to grab onto some anti-Black shit because you playing the role of the victim is a power position in a lot of conversations. Depending on where the conversation is going, especially if it's a class-based conversation, once you grab that grab hold of being the victim, now everybody has to listen to you. And that's one of those things that was, I think, the hook for Afropessimism for a lot of people, to be the perpetual victim of the invisible crime of anti-Blackness and have it be everywhere. The ubiquity of anti-Blackness means that you will forever be a victim. And it also means anything you do is this huge triumph. You can be so mediocre if you're an Afro-pessimist.
That's the goal for a lot of folks.
Right?
I want to be mediocre.
Yeah,
I saw an African person online say that the United States is the home of the microaggression.
Oof. It doesn't happen in Haiti?
I don't microaggressions. I don't know.
Like, for people that think like racial solidarity is a thing, again, I live in a country where most of the Black people I'm going to see, if they're under 100, are going to be Haitian. They're not very friendly to me. They don't see me and go, brother. And it's like, that doesn't happen at all.
It's not a historically Black college in Mexico for you.
I saw a bunch of Haitians the other day. I was out in TJ. I saw a bunch of Haitians and I was like, hey. And they just looked at me like, nigga, we are not your brother.
You have to say "ça passe." I told you, man. That's the phrase. Anybody is allowed to say it to us. That's the only phrase you're allowed to say to us, though. We gatekeep the rest of the language.
They did not say that to me. I made that. They did. They just gave me what they were like, what are you doing here? I'm supposed to say sadate? What am I supposed to say?
Sac passe.
Pascal, you say it because you're going to say it the right way.
Sac passe.
Sac passe. Sac passe. If I say that, what happens?
They'll respond. It's not boule. That's a greeting.
Yes.
Will they start going blah, 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 at me like that?
No. They will say the response, and that will probably be it. I've been trying to say because I figure the only common language we probably have is Spanish. So I've been trying to speak Spanish to them, and sometimes they will respond back to me in Spanish. How big is English in Haiti? I don't know.
It's getting bigger.
People do speak English. There's my mother is from the part of Haiti where people speak English.
Oh, word.
Yeah.
Sounds like somebody's privileged.
Yes. she was. I was not.
Hey, Pascal. Sounds like somebody's mom is light skinned.
She was a very privileged lady, actually. I was like, hey, where are my servants? We didn't have it. I had to wash the dishes. That's my microaggression.
Your microaggression was your mom making you wash the dishes?
That's right.
Can you say it in a Haitian accent?
No. I did have a Trinidadian neighbor who used to always yell at her son to take out the garbage. She said, "Go and take out the garbage."
Buyaka is Jamaican.
It's all the same to me. Ados Jason has stepped into place. All you island Negroes point like this.
Kowalski said he down with the Haitians because he's Polish. Cuba too.
Pascal, can you explain the Poles and the Haitians, the relationship?
Because several Poles, when Napoleon sent the Polish army to fight on his behalf during the Haitian Revolution, many of them realized that this is a war of liberation and abandoned Napoleon's army and went to fight with Dessalines against the French. And they ended up staying in Haiti, and they have descendants in Haiti to this day.
They became honorary Haitian and honorary Black.
Yes.
Is that why Cuba can dance?
That's why Cuba wears a tracksuit. You think it's Eastern European? No, it's because he's honorary Black.
What lessons from the George Floyd protest should be remembered? I can't talk. What lessons from the George Floyd protest should be remembered in moments like these?
I think we should remember the fact that, listen, it took people to come together to achieve the kind of protests that we had, and there was a degree of solidarity. And I think that we need to realize that we need to try to achieve those again. That the notion that we can work in silos needs to be abandoned.
Was that like a liberal solidarity, which is clearly inferior to a leftist solidarity? Like it relied on moralism and humanity and stuff. Whereas that's not necessarily how leftist solidarity works. Is that why it was fragile? Is that why it doesn't last?
I think there's truth to that. But we have to start somewhere.
I mean, how is Florida handling this? I know that there was a big pushback from even Trump supporters because he had been deporting Cubans.
There was a recent movement by a Florida political legislature trying to inhibit ICE from infiltrating the police, but it failed in the legislature. So now ICE is working with cops to deport people.
Yikes. That's specifically what Zoran said he would not allow the cops to do in New York City if he's elected.
How much of this do you think falls on the Black Mayor Karen Bass?
I think since this is LA County, isn't that outside of her jurisdiction?
I thought the protests were in LA. She's the one that ordered the police, didn't she?
I thought they were in LA County.
I think their protests are in downtown LA, if I'm not mistaken, because that's where they were doing a lot of the ICE raids. Was in I guess we would call it the Fashion District.
Okay,
but it's where you get the bootleg stuff.
That's the Fashion District.
I mean, that's my. I mean, isn't that New York too? Can I get a fake bag down there?
In the Fashion District?
Yeah.
No, you get fabric. That's what you can get in the Fashion
You can
District.
get fabric, and that fabric can turn into some clothes.
some Fucci.
Some Fucci. That's my favorite part of LA is downtown LA in the Fashion District, because you finna get a whole fat ass bag of socks for like $3.
That's what we have Chinatown for, and Canal Street. I saw a bag that says kimono instead of Moschino.
Yeah, Bay Planner says LA city boundaries. They are confusing, but I believe they were downtown LA. I know it was 2 protests that met up, and they weren't that large in scope, which is even more kind of troubling for the whole thing. This was a lot of, this is the one political thing that I tweeted out was Trump has worked himself into a shoot where the kayfabe of his political program really turned into a massive faux pas by, I'm going to order the Marines in Los Angeles for this very small amount of people that really aren't doing anything.
Yeah.
And they didn't really have a big ask. It was just a bunch of people going, stop.
Right.
So that
But
really
they had
wasn't the
sunflowers.
time to.
They had sunflowers. They should have known. Out of pocket.
Yeah, really. That original protest really was the equivalent of like flowers in the gun situation.
Mm-hmm.
Like it wasn't. He blew it out of proportion.
Yeah.
And having the police in there was just like a bigger, like, oh, this is a mess.
That the conservative dream in the 60s, beating up hippies?
If, I don't know if you guys feel this way, if there is an imagination in a lot of people's minds of what a protest is, I do believe, and I think we all are in agreement here, that it's this imagination of what people think the 60s were. And I think these people protesting right now are so different than those people in the 60s, mainly because, and Norm Finkelstein came on the show and said something along these same lines when asked this question. People had legitimate things they were going to lose with conservative political programs, from their free college, which gave them a kind of an ability to go out and protest and join movements,
right?
Take these years off to work on artistic projects, write books. A lot of that ends because of Ronald Reagan in California. The draft, motherfuckers were legitimately frightened to go to war. What are the risks right now? Like who's going out there and
deportation?
Deportation. You could get hit with a rubber bullet in your temple, and it could kill you.
Well,
that
nobody
does
wants to
not
get hit
usually
with
happen, but you
like
do
these,
get hurt by those.
These cops, I think, are suffering from the same thing that the people that imagine what a protest is to be suffering from, which is they think that they're shooting dirty hippies. They don't really believe in anything. And so they're going to shoot reporters.
Yeah.
They're going to shoot everybody because also, too, no one wants to be made fun of. And if you're a cop, you probably believe might is right. Maybe not everyone.
A statistic yesterday. Most cops, that like the average height of a cop is 5'7".
Oh, Jesus.
People extrapolate from that a lot of these guys have complexes, and that's why they became cops. Just an interesting tidbit. But these people who are protesting now, like there is a way that protests go now. And some of these people are like battle tested. They know what a kettle is. They know how to get around it. They know that you need to bring water and give it to people. They know how to get around the tear gas. There are people who I guess you would call them activists, and they are regular participants at these protests. And then I guess you also have your organizers as well. But I do not think that that is most people. I think most people are considering activism just voting, which, as Chuck D said, is the least you can do. It is the least you can do.
So should we even be concerned with these voices then online that are saying Black people stay home? Is this a real contingent? Is this a real sentiment in a community? Or is this just online discourse? Or Joshua Citarella had made a post, and him and I are having some, not an argument, but just a conversation where he asked the question, did podcasting influence the election?
Absolutely. This is considered the podcasting election.
You think so?
Specifically because Trump had seemed to have a strategy of abandoning like legacy media and going for
for the right. It did, not for the liberals.
Not for the liberals. They refused to go on, say, Joe Rogan.
So what? They went on Shannon Sharp.
Breakfast Club and stuff, right?
Well, I mean, you're anti-Black.
But Donald Trump went on Theo Von, and I think that's different from going on Rogan. He went on several podcasts. Um, that was part of his strategy. Definitely, the manosphere is ascendant right now.
Wait, I thought Donald Trump didn't go on Rogan. I thought did he go on Rogan, Pascal?
I don't know. Rogan ended up going for Trump. I'm pretty sure.
I don't remember. I remember JD Vance went on Theo Von's show. And Theo Von made that comment about cocaine. I believe Donald Trump went on Theo Von's show as well. But why does it not matter that Kamala Harris went on Shannon Sharp's show, which still to this day has the most watched interview in the history of YouTube? Why does that not matter?
I don't think people rate Shannon Sharp as a top podcaster. I think they consider his Cat Williams interview a fluke. Also, he's Black dude. He's messy for some people. That makes him not count. Possible rapist.
I mean, Cat Williams' interview on Joe Rogan's show, which we watched on this one, was horrible.
It was absolute trash.
Joe Rogan cannot talk to Black people that he does not know in the comedy world or fighting world.
As the Latinos say, basura. It was pretty hot garbage right there.
Here's my question to you guys about this whole podcast swing the election. On one hand, people love complaining about only older people vote and only older people are conservative, and they watch Fox News. How then can you say out of the same side of your mouth that these are the same people watching Joe Rogan and Theo Von?
A lot of younger people are conservative.
Okay. Did they come out and vote in droves?
That is supposed to be part of the wave of a lot of these men voting for Trump and being in support of these kind of abortion laws that, lead to terrible situations, like a woman being technically dead, but having a fetus inside her and them trying to make her carry it to term and the state making the family pay for that, which is absurd. But a lot of men, they may not even know those specific things are going on, but they're just like, look, guys' night, bros over hoes. What we're doing now. Get back in the kitchen. We need to raise these birth rates.
I mean, do you feel that podcasts are that influential, Pascal?
I mean,
because if so, then this is serious.
It's not necessarily podcast. I think it's social media because the manosphere is a phenomenon that affects politics. All right, the rise of the incel online discourse is affecting political realities, and it has numbers.
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't think it's all or nothing, right? But I don't think it's all super influential to the point where it changes policy.
I don't disagree with you, but it has an effect.
It has an effect. I don't know how big it is, right?
Fair.
Because I don't think these things happen in a vacuum where, like, I watch a podcast and the next thing you know, I'm joining a militia and gonna go shoot migrants crossing the border for fun.
Didn't that used to be the thing when it was an alt-right pipeline?
Yeah.
Now it's just a manosphere pipeline, which is
like if you think about, like, remember Breonna had a real hard problem with this understanding that if you're radicalized on the right, that took time. It wasn't like one thing happened.
Sure.
And then the next day you tattooed a swastika on your chest.
Right.
Several things have to happen for you negatively for a certain message to resonate. People always talk about their political awakenings, regardless of who you say you are, right? I'm a socialist, I'm a this. Something probably happened to you negatively that got you thinking, and then a series of events happened, and then maybe you meet someone that takes you down a certain path. But I don't know anyone that listened to a song and was like, nah, I'm going to go worship the devil and kill people.
I think it's different with the manosphere because the soil was fertile already.
Yeah.
The sexism was already there. And it was going to, I don't want to say crest because it didn't crest, but it has been increasing. And for some people, Kamala Harris even running for president and being a serious contender, that inflamed them further. All these women going to college, potentially out earning a lot of men, a lot of men not going to college, all of this kind of thing. People are seeing it like reflected in their personal life, and the manosphere gives you a narrative about that.
But like I said, it's kind of like radicalizing people to the right. Like something had already happened. If you're the white kid in an area where there's a lot of colored kids, and God forbid you're a nerd too, you know.
Well, I think it's easier to radicalize people in terms of sexism, honestly, because I think that there are people who have a lot of like racial anxieties and maybe even class anxieties. But you know, we can all unite around the fact that we have peens, and you know, these broads need to, you know,
fucking listen.
We need to be freaky virgins. And they need to be submissive providers.
I agree, because I think the internet, I've said this before, is, especially social media, especially our phones, is just, we're all the wicked witch looking into that black mirror asking, are we the fairest of them all? So with the manosphere, really, say again?
Is that what we're doing?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because my face is literally not online.
I know, but I've seen you look at your face before. I've had a conversation with you on a video call where you're doing this with your hair the whole time because you're looking at yourself.
I am.
You're not focusing on me.
The person with the peen.
I mean, what say you to that, Pascal Robert?
I mean, I think that Toussaint has some points there, man. There are some statistical things that are driving these men to these positions, and it's not simply just hearing a voice online.
This person, anti-YT trad. What does that mean? White trad? I don't know what that means. The manosphere will be replaced by a right-wing anti-family vitalist movement. You've seen nothing yet.
I think it's only just beginning.
Anti-family, though? Aren't they really pro-family?
Well, a certain type of family.
What kind of family is that?
Trad,
yeah.
With that. Just stop with these nicknames. I'm 47, and you people.
Traditional.
Well, what's a traditional family?
A nuclear
Mommy stays at home, takes care of the kids. Daddy goes to work, and the kids stay home and do.
Why does mommy have to stay home? Who the fuck grew up like that?
The people who watch the Brady Bunch.
Who the fuck watches the Brady Bunch in 2025?
A lot of people watch the rerun.
Ain't nobody watching if you're watching the Brady Bunch in 2025, then you're watching it in some fucking Clockwork Orange kind of way, where someone's got your eye like this. Like, no, like, who the fuck is watching this shit where mom is staying home cooking shit?
Well, I will say, with the price of childcare, a lot of women are forced to stay home. Whether or not they wanted to necessarily buy into that. Yeah, it's very, very expensive.
I think there's literally a New York Times piece. I don't know if it's a front page piece, but it's a big story about grandparents in retirement taking care of children.
There is actually also a phenomenon of grandparents saying, we don't want to take care of your children.
That was part of the article as well, right? The
people having children expecting the grandparents to do more, and the grandparents are insisting on doing less. And they say it might have to do with the grandparents being boomers. Isn't that interesting?
I mean, the whole conversation around that is interesting, but I mean, seriously, who the fuck is watching the Brady Bunch?
Yes.
Like, most shows that come out in the late 80s that we all know and love have working mothers.
But there's still a very powerful idea about the 1950s, and that being, I guess, the peak of American society, and something that we should go back to.
Like, why would the 50s? I guess my big question would be, like, why the 50s? And why do you think you're going to get that level of economic growth again? There was a lot of things that lead into the 50s.
Father knows best, man.
I've heard people say
Nick at Night has been over for like 20 years, man. Nobody remembers that shit.
That's when men were men and women were women.
Okay. Then in the 60s, and women grew dicks.
No, but they started like wearing pants.
Second wave feminism.
I mean, women worked in the 40s.
Yeah,
Bro,
we don't
listen.
And
This is the rationalization
Mhm.
of the manosphere. None of us here believe that crap. Right? This is the lies that they tell themselves.
absolutely.
But again, I'm just like, well, there were women working. Like, you could go anywhere in America and see women working somewhere.
The argument that these men make is that second wave feminism displaced them and put women highly in the workplace and took away the jobs that men were doing and made them basically unable to provide as leaders of the family, and men have been displaced.
Is that why I see all these female plumbers?
Bro, I'm not saying
I drove by a construction site, all women, the other day.
Hot.
No? Yeah. I was like, is this a construction site or a Playboy shoot?
Did you catcall them? Did you turn into a wolf?
Woman came and installed my cable the other day.
Women in male-dominated fields.
Like, yeah, what woman is dominating in
the professional managerial class, dude.
Oh. So just dudes carrying briefcases full of nothing? Those guys are mad. All these guys that didn't even graduate high school are mad that women with college degrees have professional jobs.
Absolutely.
Interesting.
Absolutely. A lot of people want a high school diploma to be what it used to be and to count how it used to count. Why should I have to do so much work? It was so easy for my grandfather. Why can't we go back to that?
Are we racing back to, like, why can't we have slaves?
It's man. It's reactionary revisionism. It's revanchism, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's rather depressing.
Oh, absolutely. You have women who work outside the home and still work inside the home, almost as much as women who are stay-at-home, mothers and wives.
So what?
It's called the second shift.
I'm so mad at how online you are.
No, that was a book that was written years ago.
But what is the goal of these colored folks that don't want colored folks to show up at these protests? What is their end goal? Are they pro deport them all? Do they think are they like, if you deport all the Latinos, then I can be a maid at a hotel again?
I think there's a message.
There's definitely part of it that wants to deport them all because they feel that they're they believe that they're being replaced by the immigrants.
Mm-hmm. Replaced where, though?
Resources that would otherwise go to Black people, I guess.
Like, what resources were those? Like, I'm seriously wanting to know.
Like money for Chicago. Hello. Putting these immigrants in hotels, and you got like Black homeless people here.
There's hotels for them as well. People didn't want them.
We need an ADOS hotel. It's what that means. I have seen people who seem like one of their endpoints and games is to increase or double down on Black capitalism. So while the Black women are resting and getting more degrees, they're also supposed to start a business and renew their passports and their kids' passports. But you got to start a business and you need to support Black businesses because we are no longer supporting Target, and Target is failing now, which goes to show how much that we were supporting Target before. But now we are only going to support Black-owned businesses again for the first time.
I don't have a Target near me, so I can't speak to the Target thing.
Hey,
I'll drive across the border and take video of Target. I think there's a Target somewhere in San Diego County, and I'll take video of it and see if there's any Black people walking in, and then I'll shake my head at them in shame.
There's videos of empty Walmarts and empty Targets.
No, there's not. I haven't seen one. Are they closed?
somebody is still shopping at these places. But
I mean,
yeah.
Pascal, you go to Walmart. Was it empty when you went?
I don't go to Walmart.
Oh, sorry, Target. You go to Target. Was it empty when you went there?
I don't like Target, man.
Oh, wow. You went to the fucking farmer's market to buy your organic vegetables?
That was
He
open.
talks to the farmers.
Yeah, Pascal. I only support
I only
organic
support
farmers. You're the Florida farmers. All Pascal eats is oranges.
He does not have scurvy. He does not.
You don't go to, where is there a Walmart near you, Toussaint?
There is no Walmart in New York City. We are a Walmart free city. It is not allowed. It's banned.
Is there a Target in New York?
There is a Target.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there is a Target. You know, and Target sales are down. In fact, their shareholders, their board or something, they have actually sued Target. They were saying that when you got rid of your DEI initiatives, you didn't tell us how bad the sales were going to be. You didn't tell us people were going to boycott us. So they're being internally sued.
Well, wasn't this the problem though with the rush to jump on the DEI bandwagon during the George Floyd moment?
I totally agree. And
like
Target was leading the
Bud
pack.
Light. Bud Light's a perfect example, right? They have the trans person do like a post with their beer. There was a massive backlash.
Yes.
And now they've stepped away from that and kind of gone back to like what we know is dumbass white guys. And they got what's that guy's name? Post Malone and that comedian Shane Gillis, I think is his name. Our Bud Light spokespeople. Yeah,
Wow.
our Bud Light spokespeople, and the sales are back up. Wow. Because they found out that going the DEI route was not a good route. So is Target doing the inverse? Okay, we went so black. We had the black section. Sales dropped after everybody got their George Floyd money. And now we're going to go anti-DEI and fall in line with what we think the sentiment is. Is this the problem with trying to follow internet trends?
I mean, I don't know if it's an internet trend. I guess it was just a trend.
I mean, where is it coming from? Everything's coming from the internet. It's not coming from TV.
Well, it was a response to the protests, not necessarily stuff online. They felt they knew which way the winds were blowing, and they were like, well, we should really jump on this. Nancy Pelosi is kneeling in kente cloth, and we got to get ahead of this, man.
What say you, Pascal?
Yeah.
I think that a lot of that was this liberal response to the racial moment and capitalizing on it with nonprofit kind of NGO type responses. That never really solved the problem, but as a way to just throw money at the problem and appease people of color who were in the professional managerial class, who always capitalized on these problems in the first place.
There was so much money during the George Floyd protests, and I was just like, where is this money supposed to be going? Like, this is like the answer to everything now.
Incubator projects.
The white lady, that too, which I was a beneficiary of.
Christian Parenti. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Well, I was pretending to be ADOS at the time. And I was a beneficiary of an incubator project.
You had like Scooby-Doo. You had the Scooby-Doo mask, and you were like, get these foreigners away from me, colored and all.
All their literature said black. It didn't say African American. If it did, I wouldn't have applied.
You just changed your last name.
I was going to say that my dad was Haitian, which wasn't a lie.
My dad was from Haiti, but he denounced his Haitianness.
He's very Americanized.
We love the Jeffersons.
We love the Jeffersons and Benson.
My dad was Benson for Halloween.
Was he really?
No. My dad was Robert Guillaume for Halloween.
I love Robert Guillaume. I mean, that was a time for black men, man. You had Bill Cosby and Robert Guillaume, and it was a good time. George Jefferson.
I mean, everybody got their George Floyd money. What'd you do with your George Floyd money, Pascal?
Shit, I would have loved to check.
You should have bought a house next to Patrice Flowers. Is that her name?
Is that her name? Patrice Russian?
That's
Patrice O'Neill?
what I call her.
What is her fucking name? Pascal knows her.
Patrice Colors.
Look how mad he looks when he says her name. Patrice Colors.
That's that was it. That was it. And she spells it differently. It's like with a U.
Oh, is she Haitian?
Hell to the no.
Damn.
Actually,
Dizzle McFizzle says it's just disaster capitalism, an attempt to harness the popular sentiment away from their liberal billionaire donors to blunt anti-capitalism.
Word is bond.
yeah.
You mean what we get from George Floyd
Yes.
or post George Floyd? So are these black people trying to get George Floyd type money? Do you think that's what this is about?
They'll
This
take
anger?
it. They'll take it.
They will take it because they want black capitalism.
Or reparations.
They also want segregation. Some of them want segregation again. They are romancing Jim Crow, as they say, and they feel like the races need to be separate because look how these people treat us. They want us in all of their movements. Black people, Black women have been fighting for everybody for 400 years. And we are the reason why they are able to be in this country and live so comfortably because of the things that we fought for. So
that's such a load of crap.
It's such a load of crap. It's like, dude, hang out at a fucking holding facility for a while and hear all the stories of black women that told us about it.
I don't think that Black people know a lot about other struggles, specifically in this country, and rights that other communities fought for. Just like I don't think those other communities, especially the newer immigrants, know about anything that Black people fought for here. I actually saw a video today where a few videos where I guess they're responding to more Latinos online, right? And these Latinos were saying that they thought that the Black people here were also immigrants. And these Black people were outraged. I am not an immigrant. I am not one of you. I am American. And that is one thing that Black people are always sure of. We have always been American and we built this country. And I think it's interesting, Black people embracing patriotism kind of nativist stance right now, particularly against other people.
Particularly when you have a rise of white nationalism that's trying to tell you none of you dark people belong here in the first place.
Exactly.
So are these Black people standing alongside? Are they becoming the white familiars?
Exactly.
Yes. I think it's really interesting. It's like they look at these Latinos who voted for Trump and they say that you guys thought you would be the exceptions.
Yeah.
But you're not. But then aren't these Black people also thinking they'll be the exception also? Like this fascism wave isn't going to turn on us. And if it does, it's already what we've been doing anyway, 400 years. So we'll be fine.
It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Dizzle McFizzle says, I went to an HBCU and MT and Pascal are correct. The Black PMC is just looking for their turn at the helm of the imperial machine. No rainbow coalition. Damn. Dizzle.
Is Dizzle single? This is like
right?
dropping gems.
Whew. So is this the goal then?
Mm-hmm.
That all this rhetoric is to start a fire because they're mad that there was an end to George Floyd's summer.
No, it's deeper than that, man. It's about a community of people who feel like they're being displaced. It's about a sentiment of displacement in America by these people believe in the same stuff that the Trump MAGA people are saying we're being displaced by the other brown Mexicans coming in this country, and we want to protect our position, and we want our piece of the pie. And if they didn't come here, the white man would hook us up instead of them.
What do black people say when you say that out loud, Pascal? Do they get angry with you?
Oh, because they know it's true.
Don't say that out.
What say you, Toussaint, before we go?
Kind of want to pull together a couple of threads. So in a discussion with an Asian friend of mine years ago, he was telling me that Black people are seen as American, whereas Asian people, at least in comparison, are seen as perpetual foreigners, perpetual outsiders. Where is your family from? California? No, really. Where is your family really from? No, we've been here since the railroads, man. My family's been here for we're more American than you are. No, really, where's your family from?
Yeah.
You know, and that is something that African Americans don't experience.
Never.
But I don't know that African Americans conceptualize things in that way and contrast their experiences with other people in that way. There's definitely a push for embracing Americanism right now and Black excellence specifically. So the most excellent of us are the most American, I guess. But as Cornel West said many years ago in Race Matters, it's not that white supremacy said that you could not be excellent. It's that they said you were not human. And so there's a doubling down on excellence and Americanism and all of this stuff, but we're still not addressing the real issues here.
Well, if you guys have something to say, I'm sure you people will. Drop a comment. Pascal can't wait to read it.
And vote for Zoran.
Toussaint will respond to you.
I love reading the comments. Leave a ton of comments about this.
Or am I responding to you? You'll never know.
That's true. You really won't.
You really don't know. I think people think that I respond to all of them when sometimes it's not me, but I do respond to a lot.
It's Kuba using the N-word in the comments. Because he's honorary Black.
To this day, no one can say the N-word like that Indian woman. Did you just call me nigger?
She's been waiting her whole life for this moment.
I've been waiting for this moment. Nigga.
Watch our Jeff Chang episode. Watch
I was so proud of that episode. Dude, I hit both of them up, and I hit Davey D up, Pascal, and I said, would you come back on a music show? He's no problem. Most definitely.
Yay! It's gonna be a good summer.
We get to do our golden era hip hop episode with literal hip hop aficionados.
Sounds good.
I love it. I'm excited. I like your new Mexican era where you're just like working around the clock.
Do you see what Prairie said, Jason? You're making the other riders in my vehicle uncomfortable.
You're making the other riders on the tractor uncomfortable, right?
If Prairie is driving around, I forget where in Nebraska he's from, but can you imagine him driving around Nebraska with the windows down because it's super hot out there right now, and I'm just nigga. The one Black family that's overcome all this racism sees him drive by and wave.
We're coming for you, nigga.
Prairie probably wants to go to the cookout.
Cynthia ruined the cookout for all white people.
There's nothing but corn at the cookouts in Nebraska.
If you want to know why white people are no longer invited to the cookout, please watch our show yesterday. Just watch the first 20 minutes. You will know why. Never again. Hashtag never again.
She said the Jamaican lady taught her boom boom clap. Pascal, you missed it. The Jamaican lady taught her a phrase, boom boom clap. What do you think that actually was, Pascal?
Sounds like a venereal disease.
You call her bumba clot. This is what this woman
She
taught.
said boom boom clap is bumba clot.
Boom, boom, clap.
Boom boom clap. Is bumba clot. Wow.
Yeah.
If you want to know what we're talking about, why white people will never be invited anywhere again, the first 20 minutes of that show.
The first
all you
20
need.
minutes was all about her at this super black Juneteenth cookout.
She went to a Juneteenth.
And a black guy with a snake around his neck. I mean,
guy with a
got all
shiesty.
the Negro points.
What does she say? Mizzo was there. He wears a ski mask over his face.
And that's the one she likes.
Pascal, the first 20 minutes bans all white people from any black functions. If you would have brought this woman over to your house, your family would have took you aside. No, you have to stop. We're not going to let you bring her back.
She said white people back. She did.
Oh, she did.
Yeah.
It's like that scene in Joy Luck Club where the one chick has the white boyfriend. And the mom goes, "How's the food?" And he's like, "It's great if you add a little soy sauce." She did that all night.
That is, yeah, that sounds like how her night went, actually.
Thank you guys. Please go back and watch the Ron show that we did Tuesday morning. Definitely watch Friday's Insanity. Again, this is the first 20 minutes. Leave a comment on this show. Let Pascal know what you think about him. He doesn't get enough comments directed at him.
All the YNs to comment too. Call Jason and Pascal Unk in the comments.
That is not offend. You can call me that. That does not offend me. My daughter's boyfriend has been calling me Pops since they've been dating.
I love that.
So I accept my elder role. Still cool as fuck.
Hero ain't nothing but a sandwich, Pops. Right on.
What a 10. That's how my dad talks sometimes. Say, Jack. My dad used to shit like that.
I love that. I love that.
So thank you guys. We are
Out.
peace.
Out.